Hi. Hey, everyone. This is Mr. Cusack. I'm here coming from the guidance office. I'm interviewing John Bond, a admissions representative from Siena College in Loudonville, which is just a couple of miles north of Albany, New York. And we're just going to go through, get some information on what's new going on at Siena and go through some of their programs. So, John, first, just want to tell me a little bit about yourself and, about Siena.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Cusack, for having us. My name is John Bond. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at Siena College. I've been with Siena for about 5 years now. This is going into my fifth cycle. So it's definitely been a really exciting 5 years, but also a lot has happened and changed in 5 years as well, which is always a great sign in higher education. A little background about myself. I am from the Albany area. I grew up 10 minutes from Siena College. I'm in a town called East Greenbush, New York. I was very, very stubborn and refused to even take a tour of the college, though. So I knew that I wanted to go a little bit further away, experience a new part of the country. I did my undergrad degree at Loyola University, Maryland, down in Baltimore. My master's degree at Georgetown, so stayed in the DMV area for a bit, but came back home, and I've been at Siena ever since. In terms of Siena College, we are a private Franciscan school. We accept students from all faiths or none. Totally up to what you make of it. But what is really important to us are our four main core values that are rooted in our Franciscan heritage. Those values are diversity, optimism, respect, and service. We have about 3,300 undergraduate students on campus. And we've actually been fortunate enough for the past 4 years to recruit our four largest freshman classes in the school's history. So very exciting times on campus, especially within our admissions office. Academics at Siena are broken down into three main schools. You have your School of Business, Liberal Arts, and Science. 40 majors across the three different schools, over 90 concentrations, minors, and certificates that you can customize that with. So really lots of opportunities to really be anything but cookie cutter with your education at Siena.
Oh, that's great. And, the campus culture, I'm sure, has changed. I didn't mention earlier, I am an alum of Siena, graduated way back in 95. But it's the one thing, it was an amazing experience for me. And I think what I liked about it personally was the culture on campus is like you said, very diverse, inclusive, and it just felt like at home. That's one thing I never felt like I was away from home. I always felt like, it was a welcoming community. Tell me about the campus culture. I'm sure it's changed since I was there. Sports clubs. I know we don't have Greek life, but what's going on now?
Yeah, so I bet a lot has changed, but I bet a lot hasn't changed too. So I think the core of what makes Siena is probably still pretty similar. It's pretty funny, but not funny, but we say like the best way to describe a Siena student is that they hold the door open for others. And I'm sure that was probably the case back when you were on campus as well. And when they said that in my interviews way back 5 years ago now, I was like, yeah, that's nice and all, but doesn't everyone? But it actually is true. So like when you're walking into the student union, there could be a good long distance between the person behind you, and they still hold the door open for you, almost to the point where it gets awkward. But it really, I think it does speak to the culture of respect that we have on campus as well. Very welcoming and diverse campus in terms of really the passions that our students have. And I think that is one word that if I'm ever asked to describe what a saint is, they're passionate. That could be about their academics. It could be about the club's activities that they're a part of, community service, but it's really an environment where our students are actively engaged in several different areas that keep them busy, but then also give them those life skills that are almost intangible, but such an important part of the undergraduate college experience, no matter where students go. That I think Siena does a really great job of really fine-tuning those skills for our students. In terms of the campus culture, we're in Division I, but we have the advantage of having that small classroom size still. So I think it's what's really unique to campus environment is that you're in class sizes of about 19 students. Some are even smaller. Labs and sciences are capped at 15. So you have that small classroom size. You're never in a lecture hall. But when you come to basketball season, we play in a 15,000 seat arena. Yeah. So you just don't really get that at schools our size. So really good kind of happy medium. You're getting the small classroom sizes, the interaction with the professors and the staff and faculty, but you're also getting that really big school spirit that you find at Division I schools that are double, triple the size of us.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of being in our community. So like I said earlier, I grew up in the Albany area, 10 minutes from Siena. Siena is the hometown college in the capital region of New York. We are not by any means the biggest college around here, but Siena is the hometown college. You wouldn't be able to play in an arena at 15,000 seats if you weren't. And I think that really speaks volumes to not just who we are as a college, but also what our students do for our community as well. Very actively engaged on campus, but then also off campus as well, through community service, through internships, student teaching. The Siena name is really strong in this area. And in terms of just on-campus culture, so we have 120 different clubs and organizations. So it's really one of those environments where it's impossible to not be involved.
Yeah. And how about residence life, dorms? What's the percentage of students who stay on campus, commute?
Yeah, so 80% of students choose to stay on campus for their full 4 years. Housing is tiered in a way that your first year, it's pretty standard. You share one room generally with one other roommate. But as you get to be an upperclassman, you'll transition to suites. You'll have your own bathrooms. Seniors are spoiled, though. They're all in townhouses on campus. You have your own kitchen, bathroom, dining room, living room, all within one very, very nice, newly renovated townhouse right on campus. We also have an option that we opened during COVID, actually. It's called the College Suites. It is across the Hudson River, about 10 minutes in Troy, New York. Okay. College Suites is still run through our housing office. So it's kind of a great opportunity for students who maybe want to experience life slightly removed from campus, but they don't have to go through the hassles of finding landlords, dealing with landlords, and having all the hassles that come with being on your own. It's still run through our housing office. Students can be shuttled or they can drive their cars back and forth too. So kind of a different, unique aspect to campus living without being right on Siena's campus, if that's something that you're looking for. Those are also very new apartments. The students have their own individual bedrooms, so a lot of them like it for that reason as well.
That's nice.
Housing is guaranteed all 4 years, though. So as long as you want to stay on campus, there's a spot for you.
Okay. And as far as majors go, what is the most popular major now?
So in terms of sheer numbers, psychology is our most popular major on campus. I think that's pretty consistent across the board the past several years, at least since I've been with Siena for 5 years now. In terms of trends, though, so traditionally, I think what Siena has been known for is our School of Business. Yeah. We are an AACSB accredited business school. It means we're in the top 5% worldwide. So your academics there, super strong, top notch. And what's unique about our business program is that students can actually accelerate their degree, finish their undergrad degree in 3 years, and get either their MBA or their Master's of Science in Accounting in their senior year.
Oh, that's
so
great.
In 4 years' time, you're graduating with a master's degree, really setting yourself up for success when it comes to applications and interviewing for jobs. You're competing against students that only have an undergrad degree at that point.
That's huge.
So really, really important in terms of return on investment as well. You're really accelerating that for yourself. Also, with business, you can create your own major. So you have your own standard business major. So your marketing, finance, accounting, management, but we have 22 concentrations that the School of Business offers. They're open for any student. But if you want to come in as a student in business, you can major in, it's called business, but you can take 2 of those concentrations and add them together to create your degree. So if you have passions in really different areas, and I always say, I'm not sure if anyone's actually made this combination, but you can do food marketing and investment banking and put that together to be your degree. So 2 completely unrelated areas that you could put together to customize around what you actually want to do. Sciences, on the other hand, have been exploding at Siena. So over the past 7 years, we have added about 5 to 8 majors, I would say, that have been added to our curriculum at Siena. 2 of them are health sciences and nursing. Okay. Of those new majors that we've offered, about 40% of the entire undergrad population is now enrolled in one of them. Wow. So, and one of the big reasons for that is nursing and our health sciences program. Okay. So sciences, as always, are very strong because of the access to resources that you have due to our size. So we have labs on campus. They're called the Saint Center. It's actually donated by Stewart's, one of the beloved convenience stores up in Albany. But it stands for the Stewart's Advanced Instrumentation and Technology Center. Saint Center is a lot easier to say.
Yeah.
But the Saint Center is where all of our chemistry and bio labs are. So students have access to that as soon as their first semester. We actually have students that are in graduate programs at RPI and UAlbany asked to use some of our facilities because they don't have access to it on their campuses. So really goes to show that the technology that students are using at the undergrad level, when they're applying for jobs or they're applying for grad school, they can actually talk about their experiences using the technology that the schools are expecting they're going to have to teach them how to use. So really, really setting themselves up for success there. Nursing is a dual degree program, and the way we've structured it, you're able to get your associate's and bachelor's degree in 4 years. So you sit for the NCLEX after your third year. So you're actually an RN your senior year. You can start working and earning a salary before you're even done. And then really exciting, like hot off the presses as of a couple months ago, we just secured one of the largest private donations in New York State history for a brand new science building. So Noble Hall is breaking ground, hopefully in a couple of months. But that is going to be, it's going to completely change the game in terms of our science programs on campus. So with that comes renovation of our existing science buildings, Roger Bacon and Morrell Science Center, but also a brand new state-of-the-art science center too.
Wow, that's great. Now, I remember when I was there, there was a highly competitive program. A couple of my friends were in the Albany Med. Is that still around? And could you share, if it is, share a little about that? Because we do have some students who are looking for that directed kind of into a pre-med program.
Sure. Yes. So our Albany Med program is still around. It is still our most competitive program at campus as well. So this is a BA MD program. And I like to emphasize that because it is very unique, again, to Siena. A lot of those combined programs are BSMD, but ours is BAMD because it's the humanities and science program. And it really goes back to our roots as a liberal arts college, but also a college that does good for others. So this entire focus of this program is actually the only combined medical program in the country that's direct emphasis is on community service and the humanities. So it is for students who have a strong passion that want to be doctors, but it's not just about the science. Yes, you're getting the research opportunities. You're going to be doing all the science as a part of it, but the main focus is on those students who want to be doctors to help others and really make a difference in their communities. It's about the bedside manner. It's about making those connections with people in the Albany area, but also throughout the world to help them really see inequities in the healthcare field and really help them find ways that they can address those challenges in their careers. So the way this program is structured, it is 8 years. It is 4 years at Siena, 4 years at Albany Medical College. You apply as a senior in high school. If you are admitted to our program, you are also admitted to Albany Med at the same time. So with that being said, you don't have to take the MCAT. You just get automatic acceptance once you graduate from Siena, as long as you maintain a 3.5 GPA once you're here at the college. That is not an issue for the students in the program. If you're going to med school, you need that 3.5 GPA anyways. So that is a really, really great benefit to the program. And it allows our students to focus on their research, to focus on their community service, because, again, that's the unique focus of our program. They're not spending hours and hours and hours studying for the MCATs because they're already accepted. They can use that time elsewhere. Couple unique aspects of the program. It's a BA-MD program because students have to minor in something within the School of Liberal Arts. So your major is in biology, but your minor is in anything within the School of Liberal Arts. That could be philosophy, psychology, religious studies, history, whatever you want, as long as it's within the humanities. And then the Summer of Service program is also a huge benefit as well. So we are going to send you to the country of your choice, completely funded by Siena for 10 weeks the summer after your junior year. And that is a fully funded service initiative. So the idea is that you're partnering with, and you're not finding it on your own. We're going to help you find programs, but you're working with programs to doing medical service for 10 weeks the summer after your junior year on campus. Again, kind of walking the talk, we say that we're all about the community service, but our students actually do it as well.
Wow, that's awesome. That sounds like an amazing program. And so as far as like admission, like, could you what is the typical GPA, SAT scores? Are you still test optional for that program specifically, and also just for your general, history majors or whatever coming in, and nursing?
Yeah, so I'll talk about our BA/MD program first, because that's a tricky one. It is, and I would say this to turn students away. It is significantly more competitive than our traditional admissions process at Siena. It is not test optional, that program. It's the one program on campus that isn't. Unfortunately, that's an Albany Med policy that we don't really have any say over. Sure. So for that program, the minimum SAT is a 1360. The minimum ACT is a 30. Okay. You can use either. Whatever you score the highest on, you can submit that one. We don't care to see the other, unless you want to submit and you're super proud of both of them. In terms of the GPA, students are generally in the top 10% of their class for that program. And it is a much longer process. So you can't apply early action to this program. November 1st deadline every year. And it's also our one deadline that is actually a hard deadline. So everything does need to be in by November 1st, all applications and materials. And then the process for that, we're going to review applications with our in-house committee and narrow down the group to about 75 students that we'll refer to Albany Med. Once we refer those students, we actually no longer have a say. So that group of 75, we're saying we are super happy if any of these students are selected. Okay. As we're also doing that, we are automatically reviewing students for traditional admission to Siena at the same time. So God forbid a student doesn't get accepted into the program, but are still very interested in Siena's traditional pre-med program, which is still very strong. You don't have to reapply. You're automatically reviewed with that one application. Okay. But once we send over the 75, Albany Med will narrow it down to about 35 to 40 that they offer interviews to. And those interviews take place anywhere through the end of January all the way until March. Once students are interviewed, they send out decisions on a rolling basis. So I always recommend students sign up for the earlier interview slots because they find out much sooner. You don't want to have to wait until mid-April to know where you're going to go to school, especially since May 1 is the deadline. But yeah, that is the Albany Med process. Much, much, much different than any of our other programs on campus. In terms of traditional admission at Siena, we look for a solid B+ and above. So anywhere between 87 and 100, you're in pretty decent shape. And also it's going to depend on a couple other aspects as well. So we want to see the curriculum that you're taking, and we want to see how that corresponds with the majors that you're intending to go into. So if you're looking to go into the School of Business, we're going to look at your math curriculum. We want to make sure that if you come to Siena, you're not struggling once you're here. So ideally, we would love to see pre-calc as a minimum. It's not required. If you have Algebra 2, that is okay. But we want to make sure that if you only have Algebra 2 as the minimum, that you've done well in those classes as well. In terms of the School of Science, outside of the Albany Med program, 4 years of math, 4 years of science with a lab is crucial. Those are the minimums for those majors. And then School of Liberal Arts is a little bit less focused on the math and science for obvious reasons. But again, we still want to see that you've been doing well overall across the board. We also give the opportunity to apply undecided. And in that case, we're just reviewing your academics overall. Again, we're not going to target any specific area in the review. And then we also, regardless if you come in with an intended major or undecided, all students have 2 years until they have to declare a major. Okay. So if you're not sure what you want to study just yet, that's totally fine. And you'll have time to work with us, work with your advisors to help find your passions while you're at Siena. So I always like to give that little disclaimer because some students really have no idea. That's okay. It's also normal. So you don't have to know. 30% of students come in undecided every year. Okay. Nursing, also a little bit different. So our nursing application process, again, 4 years math and science, absolutely crucial. And that program, again, is not an early action program. Also, deadline is November 1st, a little bit more flexible, but try to get everything in by the 1st. And with that program, you'll hear back around Christmas time with your status for that one. But across the board, other than our Albany Med program, we are test optional. That is not anything that came out of COVID. That was our policy pre-COVID. So that really very, very small piece of the process if you're not applying to the Albany Med program.
Okay. Now here at West Morris, we're an IB World School. So we have a full diploma program. We have a career academy. would the student involved in the diploma program or career how would that affect their admissions candidacy? Would they get an advantage over other applicants as an IB student?
Great question. So when it comes to the rigor of a curriculum, we always look into that. We want to see the students are challenging themselves. So that definitely looks great if a student is in an IB curriculum, because that is the definition of challenging yourself. It's not a walk in the park to be in those courses. So yes, I would say that it definitely looks good for the student. However, I wouldn't necessarily say that there's an advantage outside of just among the other students in their school. So when we review applications, we're comparing you based on what's offered at your high school, not to the rest of our applicant pool. Every school offers different courses, so it would be unfair to compare them to students that went to, say, Morristown or another high school in the area that may be very, very different. So yes, it is an advantage based on your curriculum that's offered in your high school if you're taking those courses, but also a different advantage that maybe not be on the top of everyone's mind when they're applying. But if they're in IB high-level courses and they get anywhere between a 5 to a 7 on those exams, they get credit for those at Siena.
Okay.
So you could be setting yourself up for success to maybe double major, to add 2 minors, maybe to graduate early if that's something that you're looking into. So definitely a different kind of advantage, but still something that students should keep in mind.
Okay, that's great. And as far as other aspects of the application process, the essays, extracurricular activities, how do those components fall into the process?
Yeah, so at Siena, and this is, again, I think most schools say this, but at Siena, being a very well-rounded education just in general, we have a very holistic review process too. So our big emphasis is to try to remove as many barriers as possible to applying. Every student is at a different level of advantage when they're going through this process. Some students' parents never went to college and they're navigating this together for the first time. Some students just moved to the United States and they have absolutely no idea how college works in this country. So with that being said, every application is reviewed on an individual basis. So we're going to look at what you're doing outside of the classroom. And I say that differently than extracurriculars, because it could be clubs, it could be sports within the high school, but it could also be part-time jobs. It could be babysitting. Family responsibilities are also a great demonstration of responsibility. So anything you're doing outside the classroom to stay busy is what we like to see. Again, going back to trying to reduce the number of barriers that we have to apply, we're actually an essay optional school. You don't have to submit an essay to apply to Siena. Now, that being said, and I'm sure most students at West Morris do have an essay, submit it. We like to read them because we get to know you better, right? If we're being as holistic as possible, we want everything possible to know about you. So if you have an essay, definitely submit it, but you don't have to if it's something that is a concern for you. In terms of just the sheer requirements, we require the application itself. We have one on our own website. It's called the Siena Express application. We're also on the Common App. You don't have to do both, one or the other. And outside of just the application itself, it's the counselor recommendation letter and then the transcript. Those are the only 3 required materials to apply and complete your application at Siena. And then we also do recommend that if students want to interview with us, we'd love to meet them, whether it be in person or virtual. So it's not anything that's going to, in like 99% of the cases, it's not going to hurt your application. It's really just a conversation to get to know you a little bit better so that we know what you're going to bring, what you're passionate about, and what you're going to contribute to the Siena community if you end up coming. And those are all on our website, those opportunities to sign up for interviews.
Okay. And as far as the, how can a student make themselves really stand out? If there's one thing, or maybe there's, obviously you said it's holistic, but how can a student that Siena's their number one choice stand out to you guys?
I think there's a couple of different ways, and I don't think there's a one size fits all formula. But what I will say is when students come through and I recognize the name when I'm reading their application, 9 times out of 10, again, that's a good sign. Maybe there's one off case that it's not a good reason that I'm recognizing your name. But if I'm recognizing your name when your application comes through, that's normally a good sign that you've done you've done what you needed to do to stand out. Okay. So that could be replying to the emails that we send. We really try to make this process as personal as possible, and as a result, we send a lot of emails out. So you can reply to those. Those are actually us. So it's not a computer that's sending you mass emails. They're actually your admissions counselor that's reaching out to you. So you can reply to those emails, answer the questions that we're asking you. I know a lot of students, because a lot of colleges send out automated emails, they think that we're never going to see them if they reply, but we really will. And we'll respond back to you, and we'll have a conversation with you. It could be through the interviews. It could be through visiting campus. If you're unable to physically visit campus, we have virtual options. Really anything to raise your hand and say, I'm really passionate about my application to Siena is a good way to start off in the right foot. It's called demonstrated interest. That's like the lingo that higher education uses. But really any way that we get to know you outside of just another application that comes through is a good sign. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. And kind of shifting a little bit different cost. Obviously, that's a huge issue today. We hear a lot about the sticker price versus what parents and students will actually pay for an education. I know I personally was the recipient of some generous scholarships at Siena, and you guys, it was great. I don't even want to know what it is, but go ahead and let us know what it is today. What's the financial aid process there?
Yeah, so Siena, I'll start off first and foremost saying Siena is a need-blind school. And what that means is that when we, on the admissions and review applications, we're solely admitting students based on their merit in high school. With that being said, our financial aid team handles all of the money aspects. So we have 2 main ways that students get aid to Siena: your merit scholarship, and then any need-based aid. That could be grants, it could be federal loans, it could be institutional grants. So lots of different ways to get need-based aid. All need-based aid is handled through submitting the FAFSA. If your family are not citizens of the U.S., you can submit the CSS profile in that case. However, if you are a citizen, only submit the FAFSA. We don't use the CSS in that case. In terms of your merit scholarship, every student that's admitted gets a scholarship that is guaranteed across the board. And it's part of this package. It's called the Siena Guarantee, and it has 3 pieces to it. The first is your merit scholarship. Those range anywhere, and it's a weird number, disclaimer, but $14,250 a year is our minimum merit scholarship. Wow. Over the course of your 4 years, that gets you to $57,000 guaranteed in just merit aid. Now, if you're toward the higher end of our spectrum, our presidential scholarship is $21,500 a year. What's really great about Siena is that scholarship that you're offered when you get accepted to Siena is yours for 4 years. It will not change. That it's not dependent on maintaining a certain GPA once you're at the college. That is your scholarship for 4 years. And then in addition, any need-based aid would be tacked onto that. So you're looking anywhere between $14,250 to $21,500 just based on how you're doing in high school. So keep up the good work. It really does pay off in the end. And then second part of that Siena Guarantee for all admitted students is the promise that you're going to finish in 4 years. If you don't, and it's something that we have done on our end, so you're not getting the classes that you need on time, your scheduling got messed up, it doesn't happen. But if in the off case that it does happen, and it's because of something we've done on our end, Siena will pay your remaining tuition to finish that degree with us after 4 years. It's really important that you're not paying tuition for undergrad for more than 4 years' time. No matter where you go. Sure. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to get you out in 4 years' time. Even though we love our Saints, they got to leave after 4 years. And then the third part of that is a hands-on experience. So worst case scenario in our eyes is that a student is sitting in a classroom and just listening for 4 years. You need to be actively engaged in whatever career you want to go down into at the undergrad level. It's going to look different no matter what you're studying. So it could be internships, study abroad, clinicals for nursing students, research. Again, it's going to look different, but you need to have that experience at the undergrad level, and it's guaranteed that you will. So that's the three prongs of the Siena Guarantee: guaranteed scholarship, you're finishing in 4 years, and you're going to have a hands-on learning experience.
That's awesome. That's great.
In terms of total, sorry to cut you off, total cost at Siena. So with room and board included, it's about $60,000 a year.
Okay.
So I always like to put that into perspective for students. Again, that is the ticket price. You're not paying that much. And if you just get the minimum scholarship, so that's the $14,250 a year. Over your 4 years, that's $57,000. Essentially, you're paying for 3 years.
Yeah.
When you look at it that way.
Mm-hmm. Sure, that's great. I mean, that's an amazing resource. So for the students, that's not a lot of schools do that. So I actually was thinking of one that question I was thinking of earlier, and I forgot it. Like traditions, kind of just as we wrap up. Like, what is any cool, fun traditions at Siena? That might have occurred since I've left, refresh my memory as to some of them when I was there.
Yeah, so a couple that maybe might have been around while you were on campus. The blessing of the brains is a very, very big tradition on campus. Was that around while you were a student?
Yes.
Yeah. So kind of harkening back to Siena's roots as a Franciscan college, the blessing of the brains is the night before the first day of finals at like 10 o'clock at night. So it's super late, but students have the opportunity to get their B's to get their A's. So our friars put together this event where they serve the B's, bacon, bagels, and bananas. And you have the opportunity to get your B's to get your A's on your final exams. So some students, if they're not tying their Siena experience into their faith, they just go for the event to get free food and to kind of get some fuel before their finals start. Other students that want this can also get their brains blessed by friars on campus as well. So kind of this, even if it's not a faith-related aspect, anything helps with finals sometimes. So never really a bad idea to get your brain blessed before you sit down for your final exams.
Yeah.
So that is a really fun, quirky, very, very Siena specific tradition on campus. Basketball season is absolutely massive on campus. Yeah. So our men's team plays at the MVP Arena. Again, it's that 15,000 seat arena in downtown Albany. So the Dog Pound is our student section. For $40 a year, students get season tickets to all men's and women's home games. They get free transportation back and forth between the arena. The section that they sit in is on the court behind one of the nets, and they get a T-shirt because they all have to match to make it look nice too. So Dog Pound during basketball season is a very, very huge aspect of campus life.
Okay.
Other couple traditions. So one that we've actually recently started. Our roots as a college, Siena College, were named after St. Bernardine of Siena. He is from Siena, Italy. So one of the unique aspects of that town in Italy is that it's broken down into 18 different neighborhoods called contrada. And those 18 neighborhoods all compete twice annually in a horse race. And it's for hundreds and hundreds of years, almost 1,000 years, this tradition has lived on in Siena, Italy. So one of the things that we've started actually this past year is every single community member on campus is now part of a contrada. That's students, faculty, staff, administration. And for new students, they are kind of like Harry Potter. You take a quiz and you're sorted into your contrada that you are a part of during your 4 years. Cool. So we all have our contrada on our desks. I'm part of Snail. It sounds better in Italian. It's I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. Yeah, I'm not even. I just saw the word. I'm not gonna try to pronounce it. But you're sorting to your contrada based on what your main core values are as a person. Super again specific to Siena, and then as you get to progress through your time at Siena. That the idea is that carries through with you. You get to build that special bond with the others, not just the students, but also the faculty and staff that are in your contrada as well. And then last fun tradition is Franks with Friars. So we obviously, as a Franciscan college, have a lot of friars that live on campus. They are the nicest, kindest souls you will ever meet. And every once in a while they'll do pop-up events called Franks with Friars where they grill up a bunch of hot dogs and they pass out free hot dogs to students on roller skates. So just a fun way to kind of get to know the friars, especially if you're not connected with the faith at Siena. Really great way to just get to know them as people too.
All right. And thank you. This has been great. I just have one last question. Regardless of where a student's applying, it might not be Siena, but just to any high school, junior, senior, whatever, looking to start the process or in the middle of it right now, what is one piece of advice that you could give to them in their college search and application process?
Use the resources that are available to you. It is, no matter where you're coming into this process, what knowledge level you have of the application process, it is long and it is stressful. And that is just a guarantee, unfortunately. Every school handles the process a little bit differently, which makes it super frustrating sometimes. So use the resources that are available to you, whether that be the counselors at your high school, whether that be admissions counselors on our end. You don't have to come to Siena for us to work with you. Obviously, we would love that, but if you need assistance, if you have questions, we are here to help, and that's what we love to do. So that's why we're in the careers that we're in. We also offer a free college boot camp every summer. It's like almost like a $2,000 value that is offered for free. So these are one-on-one opportunities to refine your college essay, to walk through the application process, talk about financial aid, all things that your families may have to pay for if they go elsewhere that we just offer for free. It is not Siena specific at all, unless you want it to be. But it is just something that we have been advising students on for years. This summer, we thought, let's put something together to make it an actual lesson, an actual boot camp that is structured and formatted. We offered it, not sure how popular it was going to be. We had over 2,000 students sign up for it, though. Wow. So it is something that you should definitely take advantage of if you're new to this process in particular.
And that's virtual or
virtual? Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Great. Well, John, this has been great. I really enjoyed speaking with you and catching up on Siena, and hoping that our students will benefit from the information that you've shared with us. And thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking us to do this. It was definitely a lot of fun.
Good. All right. Have a great day. All right.
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.